GTA the Remastered Trilogy came out this week, so while everyone is busy talking about that disastrous disrespect to some of the most important games ever, I decided to go back and play one of my favorite GTA games again after a long time. That being said, I love doing this. That being said, I'm still gonna be telling you everything about this game as it is, so if you were expecting me to be biased because of nostalgia or because of my current opinion of Rockstar, then I just want to say that
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody!
Also, this video only covers GTA 4 and not episodes from Liberty City. If you want me to make a separate video in EFLC, let me know in the comments down below. Get yourself some refreshments, cause this is a long one.
That's what she said.
First of all, visually the game still looks good. GTA 4 has a very distinct look compared to all the other GTA games because of its color tones. Sometimes it does overdo the grays and the browns to completely submerge itself in that godforsaken washed out look the PS3 and Xbox 360 era was notorious for. Like, look at this shit. Who put the black and white filter on my damn game? But where the game really hasn't aged as intended is in terms of the animation and these types of in-game cutscenes. They look so f***ing goofy, but I appreciate them because I was just laughing my ass off sometimes.
You didn't see anything.
Now, as I said, most of the times the game is visually pleasing to look at. The character models could use some work, but all the props, clothing textures, and especially the vehicles have aged incredibly well in terms of graphics. GTA 4 also has the best vehicle damage in the series. Like, damn bro, these vehicles can get as deformed as Stephen Hawking. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. Me and most of my subscribers think that YouTube pretty much hates me, and you can help in changing that. Moving on, the effects from guns and explosions have aged phenomenally. But what really steals the show is the city, man. I was so utterly immersed in Liberty City, it's ridiculous, bro. Even though it's not as big as San Andreas or GTA 5's map, the architecture of Liberty City is still a spectacle to behold. Whether it be its subway, its crowded bridges, or the very tall buildings, the city still feels like a living, breathing place. And Rockstar knew its towering scale, so every time you pan the camera up, it switches to a different view that really makes you realize how tall some of the buildings really are. Stop staring at Nico's ass and listen to me, for f***'s sake. There's also a surprising amount of enterable indoor areas here, and they are all densely packed with detail. And the nights are even better, man. The night vibes of Liberty City are truly special. Nothing has been more satisfyingly relaxing to me in recent memory while gaming than taking a cab ride during a rainy night in GTA 4. I'll talk more about the city in the gameplay section of this video. What isn't satisfying is the performance on PC. I won't spend too much time talking about this because at this point everyone knows that GTA 4 has one of the most notorious PC ports of all time. And Rockstar didn't even bother fixing anything even with the complete edition release. The frame drops for no reason are still here. The game never runs as well as it should on modern hardware. Hell, it didn't even recognize the correct amount of VRAM my system had, and I had to fix that myself in a configuration file. Just, yeah, dude. Don't expect good performance out of this game unless you're willing to use mods and stuff to fix it. I myself would have used them if I wasn't playing this game to review it, but unfortunately I had to suffer because most people don't mess around with mods when they play these games. Coming back to the good, the sound in the game is great. All the sound effects are crispy, whether it be crashing your vehicle, firing any weapon, knocking out motherfuckers and all. The only sound effect that felt kind of weird to me is the swimming sound effect. Even when you're swimming fast, it sounds like water droplet ASMR instead of a manly murderer's hands hitting the water. The music is fantastic. Background music fits really nicely wherever it's played, although sometimes I did felt like there was a lack of it where it should have been present. The soundtrack of Grand Theft Auto 4 is superb. When I get into a car and Rocky Mountain Race starts playing, I'm like,
check it out, let me take you all down to Compton to visit Compton's most wanted, and make sure to pay attention to this.
Once I was in this building and heard flashing lights playing out of one of the apartments and had the biggest smile on my face.
I get a call like, where are you, Jeezy?
Also, I don't care what anyone says, GTA 4 has the best GTA theme of all time. The story is about Nico Bellic, who has come to America from back home in Mother Russia. He's moved to Liberty City to escape his troubled past and pursue the American dream. Nico was persuaded to move here by his cousin Roman, aka the best character in the game, who claimed to be living a life of luxury. However, in reality, he runs a failing taxi business, has mounting debts, and various criminals from Liberty City underworld have put a price on his head. Roman had lied to convince his cousin to move to the city, knowing that Nico would fight against his pursuers and eventually be the one to turn his lies into a reality. Nico, however, also has other other underlying motivations for moving into Liberty City, which are revealed as the story unfolds. The rest is up to you to find out, and I'm not gonna spoil anything. Do I like the fact that there's some story choices given to you in some missions and that there's 2 different endings? I'm gonna be honest here, the story is good, but it's not as good as I remember, especially towards the end. It's kind of rushed near the end and feels like you have missed a few chapters of character relationship between certain characters. I love the writing in the game though. The character interactions, especially involving Roman, are handled really well. Also, the radio shows in this game are hilarious and they don't get talked about as much as they should be. There are many interesting characters in the game who get character development and whom you want to see more of the more you learn about them. As expected, the acting in the game is top tier, whether it be the voice or the motion captured performances. Some moments here are straight up iconic and I can't fathom the fact that they are not memed a lot.
Where's luxury condo? Where's sports car? Where's Barbara with big titties and Stephanie who sucks like a vacuum?
What are you talking about?
But the fact that most of the game has really good my type of humor doesn't mean that it's always that way. Cause I also really like the fact that GTA 4 isn't afraid to be mature and get really dark sometimes to bring the messed up shit done by the characters to the forefront. Shit's ballsy, dog. I respect it. Coming to the missions themselves, you got your main missions that you have to do to progress further in the story, optional missions, and random strangers type of missions that you can find throughout the city. Now let's all be frank here, Rockstar's game design is outdated and it has been for a while now. I very highly recommend watching Nakey Jakey's video of the same title and Video Game Donkeys picking on Rockstar Games videos to know more as to why that is the case and what can be improved. But the gist of it is, you don't realize it at first, but when a GTA game is the only game you're playing at the time and you've played 96 missions, it clicks to you somewhere in the middle that practically every mission goes like, start a mission here, go drive to this other location where the mission actually starts, shoot some people, and then sometimes bring the supporting characters back to where the mission started. Now sure, many missions do something cool and different in the middle of all this with a gimmick, like in some missions you need to get a police car to use its computer to search for a person and track him down. There's also this unique mission where I had to call a character's phone to get him near the window so I can snipe him, which again is really damn cool, but on a base level, practically every mission is the same. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean they aren't fun, because let's be real, if I wasn't enjoying myself a lot in the majority of missions, I wouldn't have done 96 of them before making this video. But you can't deny the fact that these games need more mission variety. The biggest problem with some of GTA 4's missions is that they fail miserably in hiding what's scripted and what's in your control. They're like a girl who tells you you can do whatever you want with her, but in reality makes you do certain things in a certain order, completely according to herself. What I'm trying to say is, the game tells you that there's no linearity, but in reality all there is linearity. Yes, that rhymed, I make rap songs as well, here's the playlist. Take this mission for example, where the game tells you to kill this biker, but in reality you can't kill him until he has entered and left the subway in order for it to be a set piece. And sadly, because of this, the last mission in the ending I got has to be some of the worst game design I've ever seen in any game ever. Of course, I won't show it here because again, no spoilers. But overall though, the missions that I'll say truly suck are these trailing missions where you have to stay a certain distance behind the target and slowly follow them to a destination as you stop at every single damn traffic light. Just no! I don't see how anyone can defend tailing missions like this in any game, and if we shit on them in the case of Ubisoft, then we should do the same here. Now as I said, the missions are still a ton of fun a lot of the times, mainly because of the intense situations, the context, the awesome writing, and the core gameplay. Let's start with the gunplay first. I'll go right ahead and say GTA 4 has the best gunplay out of any GTA game. By default, the game has a complex crosshair which shows the enemy health and armor, but I personally like the simple dot crosshair from GTA 5 and Max Payne 3 more, so I switched to that. Be sure to watch my Max Payne 3 video after this one, it's really damn good. The gunplay has a very brutal and impactful feeling to it. You really feel the IGN, mainly because of the incredible blood effects and also the best ragdoll or character physics system in any GTA game ever as well. It's not just simple ragdoll, my dudes. When you shoot a body part like a leg or a hand, you see the enemy feel the impact on it, get pushed through it, and instinctively tend to it. When you hit headshots, the enemy's head is thrown backwards. Like seriously, seeing headshots in this game at close range is like ecstasy. Every weapon, whether it be a pistol, sniper, rifle, or anything, feels good to use. Combine that with the fantastic sound of the weapons and the fact that Nico shouts some of the best verbal smack talk during shootouts I've ever seen.
Push me! Push me!
Even blind firing is satisfying. Some things I wish it had is that I wish the gun switched faster and the ability to switch weapons while aiming down sight. Another thing that could have been implemented is aiming to get up while in cover instead of the present system where you get up when you actually shoot, which kind of feels a little delayed. Because of this, I almost always preferred crouching compared to getting in cover. But what could have really elevated the gunplay to the next level is some form of gore or decapitations like in the older games. It would have worked so well with all the other stuff I mentioned, and I will never forgive Rockstar for taking it out of their GTA games. Still, I love the gunplay here as much as your mother's cooch. Well, maybe just a little less than that. It's super satisfying and only helped even more by the fact that a lot of the missions in GTA 4 feel like all-out war. These types of missions are utter chaos and just so much fun, bro. I can't say the same for the melee combat here though. Melee fighting here just straight up sucks, mainly because it's really inconsistent. Many of the times it feels like you're barely connecting and are required to get really close to the target. There are 3 types of attacks: main hits, alternate hits, and a cheeky kick, mate. You can also dodge enemy attacks. When it works, it looks really good when you counter to give him the old 1-2, but more often than not, it's just shit. The dodge doesn't work like it should many times. You keep punching and kicking air like an idiot, so the fights just drag. Yeah, I just wish it worked properly more often. Now, the driving in GTA 4 is very controversial and subjective. You are gonna need a bit of getting used to with most cars and practice to be good at driving here. In the wise words of Dar, man, You see, GTA 4 went with sort of realistic but weird vehicle handling and physics, which will make some people feel like somebody rubbed butter on their car's wheels. In a more realistic sense, the cars actually feel like they have some weight to them. Shitty cars actually feel shitty to drive. In a video gamey sense, that isn't much fun except for seeing what other goofy thing most of your cars will do next. Also, in some cases, the game overdoes this and the cars that appear half decent also handle like slippery pieces of shit. Some cars straight up do donuts if you accidentally hit the handbrake for a second, and you better pray you don't get on any grass while driving. And no, I'm not talking about weed, I'm talking about actual grass. Sometimes the biggest challenge in the game is actually getting onto a damn vehicle. Just get on the damn bike, Nico. I got cops behind me on my... you gotta be joking me. This shit. It can get really weird. On the other hand, supercars like the Super GT and Comet feel really good to drive once you've had some practice. Thankfully, you can use cabs to fast travel to your desired location even during missions, and that's what I did most of the times, not because I straight up hate the driving, but because it saves a lot of time. I can't give you a clear verdict on the driving of cars here because it's really gonna be down to personal preference. Bike handling also feels slippery sometimes, but because the game has the best physics in the series, the best part of riding a bike is getting yeeted off of it. Also, thanks to the physics, running over people feels better than ever. I'm not a masochist, guys. I'm completely fine. I'm completely psychologically fine. The boat driving is good though, and majority of the times the boats do exactly what you want them to. Also, the gunplay while drive-by shooting on any of the above is great. It's the right mixture of accuracy and the RNG that comes with firing a weapon while driving a vehicle. Another thing I can give you a clear verdict on is the flying. It is dog shit, at least on keyboard and mouse. The keyboard and mouse flying controls are utter trash, and you should just plug in a controller whenever you get into a helicopter in the game. The numpad or mouse to steer? Are you joking me, bro? It never handles like it should. This is really sad because Liberty City looks and feels incredible when you're up among the buildings. It is truly special, but because I majorly played on keyboard and mouse, I never wanted to fly a chopper outside of missions that specifically require you to. Now, while we are on the topic again, let's talk more about the city now, because obviously as this is a GTA game, there are various activities to partake in around the city. I already told you about the vibe, the alive feeling, the surprising amount of indoor areas you get to visit, and the immersiveness of Liberty City, man. Just walking through the streets, the piers, or on Lady Anti-Liberty's Island has its own charming feeling to it. In my humble opinion, GTA 4 almost perfectly captures the city life vibe better than any other game in the series. You can use your phone to call your friends to hang out with you, so activities you can do individually, like going out to eat, play pool, this shit, this is how real men play billiards, and more can also be done with friends. Let's be honest though, nothing is more fun than being a drunk mess with the boys. You also enter cheat codes using your phone. Once you've entered the number for a cheat, it's saved in a separate section in your phone. I don't want to talk about the cheats here because GTA 4's cheats library is just laughable compared to other GTA games, so yeah, let's move on. You can also get girlfriends in the game and go on dates with them to the mentioned activities, and pray that your virgin ass hopefully gets laid. If not, the strip club's got your back. God, no, that November is killing me. Of course, you can customize Nico with different clothes by visiting different stores. There's an alright amount of clothes you can choose from, and the type of clothing depends on the store. In this game, though, you have to individually select clothes on shelves. This feels like a WoW thing at first, but just becomes tedious. There should have at least been an option to cycle through the different colors of the same type of clothing item. But no, you have to separately walk over to the different item for that too. Hell, the only clothing item you can cycle through the colors of is shoes. There's also no clothing item list in your wardrobe as well, so you have to slowly and tediously cycle through each clothing item to get to the one you actually want to wear, which is really annoying. Still, overall the customization suite is alright. Some of the most fun that can be had in a GTA game is by causing mayhem in the open world, and GTA 4 is no different in that regard. As I said earlier, the effects from guns and explosions have aged phenomenally, so that only adds more to the already super fun experience. Of course, the wanted system is still here. It goes up to 6 stars with each wanted level increasing the difficulty. I already told you about the great gunplay, man, and fighting tons of cops with it can reach extreme levels of fun. Now, the final thing I want to talk about before we reach the conclusion part of this video is the severe lack of content GTA 4 has when compared to its mainline successor and its mainline predecessor, GTA 5 and GTA San Andreas respectively. Now, some of you must be thinking, bro, it's kinda unfair to compare any other GTA game to San Andreas because GTA San Andreas is the best GTA game of all time and GTA 5 is this game's sequel. Well, you did my work and kinda proved yourself wrong there, didn't ya? Ya dum-dum. These are games in the same series, so it's 100% okay to compare them with each other. Also, I'm not gonna bring up the stats system from San Andreas because then it would just be complete annihilation. Whether it be weapons, vehicles, or mission variety, GTA 4 just has relatively very less of it. There is no hairstyle choosing, you can't swim underwater, hell, even the parachute is only available in the Ballad of Gay Tony. I guess straight people aren't cool enough to use a parachute in Liberty City. There's a single item at every restaurant, there's not a lot of clothing items to choose from. Like, its shortage on niche things is also disappointing, man. There's just not a lot of stuff where you can spend your money at in this game. But in conclusion, is GTA 4 underrated like some pseudo-intellectuals pretend it is, even though it has sold record-breakingly well and is the 3rd highest rated game on Metacritic?
Hell no!
But even though it's not as great as I remember, is it still one of my favorite GTA games and a damn good game that you should definitely play if you somehow haven't?
Yes! Hell yeah!
So thanks a lot to all of you who watched till the end. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and also hit the bell notification icon so that you may never miss out on any future content. Some of my other videos are on your screen right now, including my latest track, Flip the Script, which is streaming on all platforms. Consider checking them out as well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.